Welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And today we've got a really interesting show for you because there's lots of stuff in the media and on YouTube all about, I'll say, maybe the downfall of some people's success, but what we're trying to do is get you elevated in your road to success. But before we get started, Andrea's got her tip of the week.
Well, this is a tip that I'm sure maybe a lot of people know about, but I saw it on Instagram, and the other day I had an opportunity to use it and try it, and it worked really well. So I had made some cutlets, and I had a lot of oil left in the pan, and a lot of times you just let it sit and harden or whatever to try and get rid of it. But I had seen this posting that you take your tin foil and you put it in your sink drain. Like you make a, what would you call that? Like a little cup almost out of tin foil. And then you pour the grease inside that tin foil, and then you take the corners, you twist it up, done. Throw it in the garbage.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
I thought it was great because it got rid of it instantly.
Right.
And there was no mess, and it saved my drain from getting any grease down.
Right.
As a matter of fact, we had the plumber last week because one of the toilets in the basement was plugged, and there was, when he went in to try and release whatever was there, he said he didn't think it was from toilet paper or anything. He thought it was from the grease from the kitchen sink.
Wow.
Because it went directly down there. And I guess over the years,
it builds up.
And he figures that's what it was.
Wow, that's interesting. I always put the paper towels I'm using for, preparing stuff in the kitchen. I just stick them all in the pan, and then, it soaks up all the grease, and then I just
too much. I think, like I had about,
you had lots.
Big pan.
Like oil, like from cooking.
From cooking.
Oh yeah, no, I just have the grease from bacon. Cooking bacon.
No, this
some
was
things with fat.
Actually doing like the breaded cutlets.
Got it. Okay, got it. Anyway, this week I have to, before we get started on an episode, and I did a little TikTok with my new alpaca.
Is that what it is? Alpaca?
It's alpaca. Yes.
Ooh,
it's
nice.
A poncho. It's not a cape, it's a poncho. So you just put it over your head, which they made the hole big enough. So it's really nice from that. But it's nice because it's very light and it's like a sweater.
Right.
So, or a very light blanket, but it keeps you so nice and warm. I thought I'm going to wear it for this episode because.
And where did you find that?
In Sydney, Nova Scotia, when I was on a cruise.
Oh,
they had all these little shops there for people to buy stuff.
I love those shops.
And what's interesting, I have seen some alpaca when I've been traveling in the States or in Europe, other cruise ships, and I would see stuff that they made with the alpaca. I found that the price was really good considering our Canadian dollar is always depressed.
Yeah.
And it was only $130 plus taxes.
Great.
And for alpaca and these beautiful colors, I thought, wow, how could I not buy it, right? Again, I'm not a shopper, so for me, when I spend money on something, it's something that I really like.
Yeah. Well, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of alpaca in Nova Scotia?
In the shop, they had a lot of products that are from the alpaca, yes.
Oh, but it wasn't made in...
You know what?
Nova
I couldn't
Scotia.
really... No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I couldn't tell from the tag, but they just said it was alpaca, and they told you how to brush it and...
Nice.
how to keep it clean kind of thing. But I love it.
It's gorgeous.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about success. And sometimes on the road to success, you think people that are more successful than you, and you want to sort of latch on, to their coattails and hope.
They're posse.
They're posse. And the thing is, so right now, everybody's been, talking about what's gone down with P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him, because he's changed his brand many times throughout the years. But what he hasn't changed, unfortunately, are his morals and ethics. And unfortunately, some people that made it to the top got caught up in that web. And one of the ones in particular for us is Justin Bieber. And the reason I'm bringing him up in particular, not just that he's Canadian, but he has a home in Canada, that I was telling Andrea a funny story. I woke up one morning and realized that, they have this 6 degree of separation. They talk about this all the time. So Justin Bieber lives in a home that my niece, her father, it's his brother that owned the house.
Wow.
And even though my niece has been to that house before it was sold, my sister was married to my niece's father. And so she had never gotten there, my sister. But anyway, I just one day, because Justin Bieber's been so much in the news lately because of what's happened with P. Diddy, because he was aligned there. And as a young boy, I think he was 14 or 15 years old.
14.
Such a young man, and wouldn't know anything about, I'm going to say, real life at that point. Got kind of thrown to the lion.
Definitely.
Without protection.
Literally thrown to the lion.
And I remember seeing a few, because now there's a lot of things coming from different shows that, they may have appeared on. And P. Diddy sitting there next to Justin saying he knows better than to talk about what goes on. He wouldn't even understand at a young age the consequence of what he got himself involved in.
Well, that's probably a saving grace, that he was too young to know what was going on, or to do everything. But the other people that have been involved now to these freak out parties or whatever, they were definitely knew what was going on. And it's very unfortunate, because you're trusting these people.
Yes.
Because they're your idols.
And they're successful in your eyes.
And you don't hear bad things.
Right.
And they've got record labels. They produce music. They write music. They sing music.
And that's what you want to get in.
And that's what you only see.
Yes.
That good part, right?
Yes.
And then and the only way you can get into that business is to know somebody or have somebody discover you. And that's what happened, right? With Usher. And then Usher brought him to
P.
Diddy.
Yeah.
And
But Usher should have known better, because he knew what was going on.
Exactly. And of course the mother, everybody said, oh, where was the mother? Well, it also happened with Usher's mother. They didn't know. They were trusting these people, because they don't have musical background. They don't know.
But
people
they also were assured. I understood that the parents were assured that they would be well looked after.
And it was something both of them wanted. Usher and Justin, they both wanted to be famous. They both wanted that to be in that business. So the parents were like, okay, they had nowhere to go to find advice. They just thought, this is our break.
Well, because he could make or break them.
And he did.
And
supposedly, he broke a lot of people that we don't even know about, right? Because, and then when you're in the business, you know this. You know this about people, that if you cross them, if you don't abide by their rules, you will get broken. And for someone who's maybe already famous or on their way up, they don't want that. They want to be famous.
Yeah. The problem is that sometimes when we're going after a goal of success, we think that it's okay to get us to our destination faster. But on the other hand, I'll say the good and the bad happens.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, because Justin was a minor and things happened, the good part of it is that he was able to get very successful on that coattail. I think if he had to do it again, he would have found another way, because there's no way that he would have aligned himself with people like that.
No.
And he's a very devout Christian now.
No.
And so, no, but the thing is with people is that he was young and impressionable.
Yeah.
And had a goal in mind to be, wanting to share his talent with the world, which we appreciated the fact that we got to see him. And we still do. But he is also distancing himself now, understanding that what happened shouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
And it's really sad that he got caught up on that. And that's the one we know about. That's the one that's, talked about a lot in the media. But ladies, when you're out there, just because the appearance is there of somebody really successful, you have to make sure that the intention is also
do
honorable.
Your research on the person, and maybe talk to people that have been in the business with them, and just say, would you recommend that I do this, or
Well, look at
I don't
Andrea and
know.
I.
It's hard.
We've been doing this show. It's going on 3 years now, and we're not at the level of success that we'd like to be. But also, we haven't aligned ourselves with people that might bring discredit to what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And so even if it's the turtle way, the slow process, the snail, I guess the snail or the turtle or whatever, they're both slow.
The turtle, yeah.
It's not the rabbit. We haven't been able to sprint our way into that kind of fame. And that's okay too. But the thing is, you have to think about who you want in your mix. And Andrea, you were just telling me a story about somebody that you watched a video recently where they had, like they wanted to bring somebody famous into something they were going to be doing, whether it was an advertisement.
Oh, right. And so, yes, I was watching a podcast actually that you sent me. And the woman was saying it was basically, trusting your instincts. And she was going to be doing an advertising ad for her company. And it was a makeup line. And so she was thinking about a certain celebrity. And she said that normally she makes her decisions very quickly, no hesitation. Yes, because, failure is part of success. And, but she said she kept dragging her feet. And she wasn't sure why she couldn't make this decision. And then at the end of the day, she decided not to use this person. And she didn't say who or why or what, but it all was for the good of her company. So it was the right thing that she had to do. And she was very happy she made that decision. So it was trusting her instinct, and I don't know who the person was.
But the thing is, she wasn't famous, but she could have brought herself into alignment with somebody famous, but something held her back. And the thing is, she didn't think, well, yeah, but this person's way more famous. I'm going to do it anyway.
Anyways, right.
And so she
trusted her instinct.
And she made the right decision based on that. Because again, with success, there's going to be a lot of things that go along that journey that sometimes you will make the right decision. Sometimes you won't. Understand, like Andrea said, failure is part of the journey. But don't think that just because somebody is famous and possibly could elevate you to that level, that it's a good alignment.
Right. Yeah. And on the opposite way too is when you are famous, be careful who you bring along with you, who you have in your circle.
Yes.
Because they might not always have good intentions for you. Also, you have to be so careful when you're, say, rich and famous. Yeah. When I think about that young girl, Selena, was it?
Selena, yeah. Gomez? No, not Selena Gomez.
They made a movie about her.
Right. That
Selena, and she had that woman doing her books and stuff. And she found out she was, how do you say, robbing her blind, basically. Oh. And she went to confront her, she was an older woman too. Oh. And Selena was only, 17 or so. And her father and her brothers were all with her on her road trips and stuff. But this one woman did her business end of it. Anyways, when Selena went to confront her, the woman killed her.
Yeah, I remember she died. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't remember all the details about that.
You have to be so careful, like who you align yourself with,
and also
all the time.
But you also, and this is the thing with that other lady, when you watch that podcast or that YouTube video, also she said they're available, but she knows what's going on, even though she hires people to do the things that is not up her alley of expertise, but she's on top of everything, because that's the other thing. You hear about business managers kind of robbing you blind kind of thing.
Especially in the music industry, you hear so much.
Music, sports, there's all kinds of stuff. And when you say, talk about aligning yourself, make sure that they're the person that you can trust. Make sure that when you're starting to get some new people within your, I'll say, business, that you have at least done your due diligence and research to make sure that they're people that you can trust to do what you want them to do, and that they're not going to be robbing you blind, because there's ways to do it in many businesses, if you allow it to happen. So you need very trustworthy
and
people.
Isn't it heartbreaking, Linda, the way people use people?
It is.
It's
and
so
always coming
heartbreaking.
down to the money.
Down to the money. Yeah, they what do they say? Money is the root of all evil.
Well, I don't believe that, because money makes you very happy if you get it the right way, the honorable way, and you use it to help other people as well.
Right.
But it can be when you have the bad intentions with it.
Yes, and you know what? This is what's been upsetting me a lot about this P. Diddy thing that's going on. Like, the man had money. I mean, we're talking billions. And what did he do with it? Parties? Freak out parties and booze and drugs and cocaine? Why aren't you helping others?
Yes.
Why aren't you building up your community? You know, I don't understand it. Like, how much partying can one person do?
Obviously a lot, because
like 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I know, right?
Like, that's a lot of partying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, it's you know, he's fallen down now. I don't know how far he'll go.
Well,
and
they're
who
saying
he's
he might
taking with him.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. He wants to get out. His lawyers are trying very desperately to get him out of jail. I think he could rot there for all I care. But the point is, if he gets out, because he's got, even though he'd have all these limitations, there's always a way.
Always a way.
They can do it in prison, for crying out loud.
Right.
You think they can't do it when they're living in their own luxury home?
I know. Well, and I think too, they're worried about suicide, like, you know, with Epstein, like, not that he would commit it, but that because he knows so much and he's saying that he's going to
Would that be the worst
give out
thing?
all these names? No. Well, I want everybody to come to justice. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not just him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people involved in this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I was watching this other YouTube video, and they were talking about, especially in the music industry, this is almost a normal part of what you have to go through if you want to get, I'll say, the opportunities, even though you're talented.
Well, Lady Gaga was on the other day. I was watching a thing. Now, I don't know that she mentioned P. Diddy or if it was the other guy, but she was told when she first went with her music and to get a record deal, like, to take her clothes off. And she said no. And she walked out and they said, well, your music will never get heard. And so she said, it took her a while, some soul searching, whatever, but she ended up doing what they wanted her to do.
She did?
That's what I took away from this video clip. Yeah, so I did not know
that. But you see, because they're desperate for their opportunities, and a lot of doors are closed unless you play the game.
Play the game.
And they did that in Hollywood as well.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
But again,
I don't think it, like, back in the say the 50s, 60s, I don't think it was so down and dirty as it is now. Like, now it's, you think it is?
I absolutely think it was as corrupt.
Well, I mean, I know they were sleeping with each other, but
it's like a lot of stuff. Some people went in with their eyes wide open, and then complained only after they got their success.
Right.
And that's not right.
And that's what came out with, like, Weinstein and with Bill Cosby, you know, 20, 30 years later, like, what they did wasn't right, but the people got what they wanted.
Right. And at that point, then you should have just said that was the price you paid.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of them, they were older, but they were naive and young in the sense of they wanted what they wanted. And that was the most important thing.
Yeah. And
so they allowed themselves to be sold.
To be sold.
You know, because they sold their soul for that kind of success.
Fame and fortune.
You know, I'd like to think that eventually, as our show grows and we have more ladies tuning in, that we've done it all on the up and up, and we can help guide other women.
I don't think anybody would want us in that way, though.
No, I get it from that point, Andrea. I do get it from that point. Yes, we're past the stage of anybody trying to entice us to say, I can do this if you do this. I'm like, I don't think they're that interested. You're right, but I'd like to think that even if we were younger, if we had done this when we were, like, say, not that they had this, but as teenagers
Oh, yeah.
or early 20s and stuff, if we would have
We
sold
would have
our
been
souls.
honorable.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah,
knowing,
for sure.
knowing the kind
Just
of
our
person I am,
values that we
I
have.
know, right?
We're old school.
We're
so,
old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the younger generation go, what's the big deal? You know, because
Exactly.
everybody's doing it. It's just your generation. They go, okay, whatever.
But one of the things that you just said, and I want you to keep in mind, ladies, is that